Hello friends, Coach Bob here, and today we are going to be doing my random thoughts at 2,000 miles. Now I will say I've kind of been dreading this video, and not for the reasons you may think. Not because I've got 2,000 miles on it, but because the last time I did random thoughts and I said anything negative or arbitrary about CanAm, I got quite a bit of hate mail. It was pretty interesting. So, you know, I'm one of those guys that, first off, let me say this. I do not have any regrets about buying the CanAm Spyder RT. None whatsoever. In fact, I love this machine, and if I could go back in time, I would buy exactly what I have. So, before anyone goes, hey Coach Bob, you're just a hater, man. You're just a hater. No, actually, I am quite the CanAm RT fanboy. But I also realize that if we don't voice our true opinion of things that matter, then the manufacturers will never improve and they'll never make any changes whatsoever, and you'll always be stuck with what you have. So now that we have the elephant in the room identified, let's talk about some good things and some bad things, and then just some things that are just in between. So let's talk about a good thing. One good thing about this machine is that it is very utilitarian. That's one of the reasons I ride it all the time. I can put anything I have in there, whether it's camera equipment, which I love doing camera work, whether it is track gear for when I'm coaching, and now that I have the trailer, I'm actually able to carry starters blocks and all kinds of stuff, things that I never imagined carrying when I was riding. So that has been really, really cool, and the utilitarian aspect of it is a huge, huge thing. So two massive thumbs up for the utilitarian nature of the CanAm Spyder RT. Now for a negative. We're going to do a negative after each positive. Now, a negative is the plastic. The fit and finish of the plastic, it's just not quite up to par with what it should be. And what I mean by that, whenever you remove a piece of plastic, the tabs on there always feel like you're going to break something. And that is very disconcerting because, you know, then you're trying to reassemble something. Is it going to stay in place? And it can be very, very unnerving. A lot of things on the CanAm, when you take the screws out, they kind of lock in with these small plastic tabs. And so if you are a hands-on guy and you like to do some of your own work, it can really make you nervous. You read about guys breaking things, and the vendors tell you that, you know, that you could break it pretty easily. So I would love to see CanAm go to something that has a little more carbon fiber and something that's a little more solid than what they have on here now. It looks good. It's just not really as strong and functional and solid as I think it should be. Now another good thing. Good thing number 2. Handling. Handling is far superior than anything I ever imagined it to be on the CanAm Spyder. I didn't think that I would ever be confident enough for one to take the turns like I do. And if I was confident enough to take those turns, I didn't think that the CanAm would respond like it does. The nature of the machine itself is very, very nice. It's mild-mannered, but very sensitive also. And I like that. So I can press that handlebar and lean and go, and I can trail the rear end of the bike, or the trike, as you will, around behind me, and you can do some pretty abrupt and aggressive turns on this thing, and I really, really like that. I never expected that to be the case. The BRP app. Now, the BRP app, I think they have a really good foundation for something good here, but what they don't have is something that doesn't have a lot of bugs in it. And I've found this to be a great source of frustration when I'm out riding, and every time I turn the CanAm off, I have to open the frunk and unplug my phone and reset everything. It really shouldn't be that difficult, and I really hope that BRP gets this together because I think, like I said, that this is a good foundation. The GPS, as with a lot of the things that all of the companies are going to with subscriptions and things like that, I don't think that it's really cool when you have to go out and spend $100 to get your GPS to work properly, to get maps and that sort of thing. So the BRP app is very fidgety, and it can do weird things. I find myself sometimes when I talk on the phone, when I hang up, all of a sudden my map disappears, or a phone call doesn't come through properly. So the BRP app does have a lot of bugs and stuff in it. I hope that they go to the vendor that's designing this, and that CanAm or BRP will negotiate with these guys and keep plugging away and finish what they started on this thing, because it could really, really be good to have it all in one spot like that. Another positive: it's just fun to ride. It's just fun to ride, and it is exactly what you want something to be when you're riding. If it's a good time, you'll ride it more, and the more you ride, the better you get. And there is something to be said about being good, about being safe and riding it. So the machine itself is awfully fun to ride, just as is. That's taking the utilitarian nature out of it. That's taking any performance issues. That's taking the plastic, anything to the side. You can throw all that away, and I'm going to tell you, the thing is fun to ride, and I would buy it just for that. If for no other reason, it is a blast, and I ride it a lot as a result of it. Bad point number 3: cost and availability of parts. The cost of a trailer hitch to be $650+ and that of armrest to be $330 to $350 based on where you get them isn't real cool. And I will say that when you need a part like that, you got to order it, and it's got to come in. It's going to take a week. And what that does, as far as for a consumer, it makes you a little concerned when you may have a mechanical problem and you have to have a part of great specificity, how long it's going to take for them to get that part. So, the parts availability and that sort of thing can really, really make things a little uneasy for you. Now, this is not just through CanAm. Obviously, Ducati, Triumph, Harley, I got to admit, they're pretty good with their parts. But when you start getting into exotic or foreign vehicles, and even including the BMW, you're going to run into those kinds of issues. But for the user, the end user, us, it makes it a little unnerving. I wish that was better. So the next positive: this thing is an absolute heavenly touring machine. I've ridden this thing to Columbus, Georgia and back pulling a trailer, to Daytona and back, multiple times, trips up into Georgia, hundreds of miles at a time. And when I get to where I'm going, I'm not exhausted. I find that riding this thing for miles and miles and miles and miles is no more difficult for me than driving my car. Now, I won't say that I go as fast due to wind and things of that nature, but the idea that I could get on this thing and ride for miles and miles is an absolute no-brainer. I would not hesitate to get on this thing and ride to Washington State tomorrow. It would not scare me one bit. In fact, I would ride to Alaska. I would ride through mountains. I would ride the tail of the dragon. I would tour this country hands down without reservation at all. And let me tell you, that is a huge, an absolute enormous vote of confidence for this thing. And I do believe that this is one of the best touring machines on the planet. And I say that without any doubts whatsoever. It is an absolute touring monster. Now, this is the one that may confound you a little bit, because I see this as a positive and a negative. It just depends on your background, what kind of motorcycle or trike you come from. Because if you are a performance motorcycle guy, the brakes, they're lackluster. They just are. And I received a lot of negative comments when I said that. You know, I don't know if people haven't ridden, you know, some of the sport bikes and things of that nature that have the big heavy dual Brembos on the front that really are unbelievable, and the control that you have over them when graduating them between the front and the back is magnificent. Now, that being said, if you're coming off of another touring motorcycle or a heavy piece of American iron, the brakes are really good. So I don't know what your background is. All I can tell you is if you're coming off of a touring machine, expect to get on it and be impressed. And if you're coming off of a sport bike, be careful, because it's not going to stop like what you're acclimated to. So I have become very used to the brakes, and I did some emergency stopping on this video simply to show you this thing really will stop. It's just a different feel to it altogether, and it takes a little bit of getting used to if you come from a sport type of riding background. And when I say sport bike, I don't necessarily just mean, the racing style MotoGP bikes. I'm talking about the GS styles, the more naked sport hooligan bikes, that sort of thing. Even the supermoto motorcycles, those sorts of things that have big heavy duty Brembos, it's just going to be a little different for you. So when you get on these things, be careful at first until you get the feel. If you're getting off a heavy iron, you're going to feel right at home and you're going to be impressed. Well, there you have it. The good, the bad, and then the kind of in between. I will say there were no real deal breakers for me when I started going down this list if I was someone that was in the market. And I will say again, I can't reiterate it enough, I have zero buyer's remorse. I love how it handles, I love how it rides, and it is a wonderful, wonderful riding machine. So if you would, do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We are growing and we are really enjoying it. Always trying to give you some good quality camera work and some good footage. And if you would just help us grow. So I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for all that you've done to make the Coach Bob 3 channel what it is. We've got some real great loyal subscribers out there that leave some wonderful comments that make things so much more pleasurable for us as we're doing all this work. And I really do put a lot of time into this thing, and I really enjoy doing it for you. So thanks again for all that. And remember, I want you to go out today, go for a ride, let the wind blow through your hair if you got any, or if you're not like me, just let it blow on your noggin. And enjoy your day, because remember, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So go out, eat right, take care of yourself, and seize the day. We'll talk to you soon.